My name is Erin Bednarz, and my pronouns are she and her. I identify as a sound designer, a audio storyteller, a DJ, a boom operator, and sometimes an audio engineer. While behind the scenes working in theater, I have been an audio engineer working in a booth, a lot like this one, mostly leveling voices during a musical. I've also been an engineer cabling speakers together backstage. The projects really range. I think one of the wonderful things about theater is that you have to learn everything as you go along because every project is a little bit different every time you do it, which is kind of how I've developed so many hyphens, I think. You have to be a very good listener and a very good observer. I've worked in theaters that are 50-seat theaters. I've worked in theaters that are 2,000-seat theaters. And every time you just want to focus on how the story can be told in the best way possible. And then you learn what sort of gear is going to fit that theater and what sort of equipment that you're going to need to be able to achieve the desired result. I'm a bit of a want to know it all, so I spend a lot of time wondering how things work, and I found myself being really drawn to the audio side of things when I'd go and see a play. I would notice the sound effects, or I would notice the soundtrack, and I would be like, oh, I know that song, and then it would take me out of the play a little bit, and I'd be like, I wonder why that person chose it. And so my curiosity more than anything really drew me in to want to learn how to storytell behind the scenes. I mean, honestly, a lot of my time working with Intiman has given me many aha moments when it comes to sound, and even though I started with general curiosity to sound design, I eventually showed up into a lot of rooms realizing that I was sometimes the only femme-presenting person in that room on the sound team. And I would show up wearing lipstick, and people would assume I was there to design the costumes. And once I realized how important it was for me to be in that room and be a femme person myself, I realized that finding a real space in sound design as me was something that I really wanted to focus on. My advice would be to don't be afraid to show up, don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't assume that you don't already know something. Don't assume that your ideas are wrong or that you might not really know how something works. In my experience, I feel like you can teach skills and you can teach how to carry out a task, but having a creative mind and having a passionate mind and having the wantonness to be a part of telling a story is something that you'll realize that you have for yourself, and that should hopefully guide you to want to figure out what your path is going to be.